We don't distribute through OTAs. From what I hear from other people in the industry, I think that's as high as like 25 to 30% right now. And it's a sea of commoditized assets essentially, right? And so it is really just playing. A lot of people are just simply moving that filter along for price, and they're not
Mm.
really, they're not really able to discern quality or differentiated value on a lot of those sites. And that's why it hasn't really made sense for us. Whereas you go to a luxury travel agency advisor, they know their clients well, they have their own relationships with them, and it's a more qualified user, guest, traveler.
Yeah. So the no OTA topic, that's a super interesting one. So that's, I think, certainly among the Arival, community, that's the exception, not the rule. Yeah, tell us a bit more. So is it simply because of the nature of the marketplace? Is it the commissions that put you off, or is it not the right channel for a context product? What's the reason for working with no OTAs?
Yeah, I would say that typically the people, it varies, right? We have a lot of luxury travel advisors that first come to us, and the first time they hear about us, they say, "Oh, how are you different from a Viator?" Or "Are you just your platform looks really cool? Is it the same?" And no, we're a brand, we're an operator, we're owning all these experiences. We're not just an aggregator of supply. And then we say, have you had fantastic experiences on these platforms? Yes. Have you had some really crappy ones too? Yes. So how do we close that gap in quality, and how can you trust us? So for us, it's really about not getting lost in the noise and finding the right, curating that experience. Context it isn't for everyone. If you're simply looking to hop on, if you're perfectly fine to do the fast paced, I just want to take a couple of TikTok photos for TikTok or Instagram, and I want to check off these places on the bucket list and visit the landmines. Feels like a landmine sometimes. I want to visit them just to check things off. That's not, and I want to do it at the lowest possible price. That's not the type of guest that's going to be happy or have a great experience in a context tour,
Mm.
right? You can get a cheaper experience elsewhere, and you can certainly check things off a list a lot faster than you can if you're on a bus tour around a city. These are meant to be slower. These are meant to engage in deeper
Mm.
conversation, and not just have someone entertain you from a megaphone.
But what about that kind of rising, especially kind of younger, more affluent traveler that's doing everything digitally, doing everything online? They're booking some things on OTAs, and I do see a lot of upscale product on some of the OTA platforms. And also, I've been hearing from them as well, like they're doing more on the private tour side as well. Is that so? You really don't feel there's a market there for you?
I mean, it's not that we're not on any platforms, right? You mentioned Project Expedition earlier. Rob Keane, we've done a partnership with him, so we're on there. And we look for ways to.
But they're like 99, I think,
But
those are
that's
travel
advisors.
agents.
That's
Yeah,
advisors,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But in terms
yeah.
of, I do think that perhaps there's ways to get into. Right now, we have it's all about trade-off opportunities. And
Mm.
you mentioned 60,000. I think there's 100,000 or something U.S. travel advisors out there right
Mm.
now, and we've barely penetrated that. We're growing at a really fast clip there. We're a known entity. We're a brand that's recognized. And it's usually not as simple as plug and play, even with the OTAs. You're managing inventories. If you have the API connections, it's quite a heavy lift actually to manage that inventory across all these distribution channels, right? And right now we just want to make sure that we're focusing time and effort on the ones that are the best fit for us, right? Who knows? Maybe in a couple of years' time, I might be talking. I'll be like, okay, I've got like 10 or 15% on a
Yeah.
on an
Yeah.
OTA. That's not the world we're focused on right now.
Can you share a little bit about what channels work really well for you? I mean, you've talked about the travel agency channel. Are you comfortable sharing kind of the mix of direct versus agency, or some of the key marketing channels that have been really valuable for you?
Yeah, we're about 50-50 now. Yeah, the advisor channel has grown quite a lot for us in the last couple of years. And so it's just about at the 50% mark. The other 50% is coming from direct. As I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of word of mouth and organic, but we do invest in the big algorithms. We're expanding our reach through performance marketing, so Google, a little bit of Meta, and then obviously we're looking for optimizations, SEO, AEO, those sorts of things, so
Hmm.
people can find us easier.